Hello and welcome to Men Behind the Curtain, the podcast about everything and nothing all at once. I am Pitt.
I'm Eli. How's it going, y'all?
Yeah,
Um,
I'm just going to go right into the shit show put on by Velveeta Voldemort and JD Bowman. With it's okay. These two fucking thunder cunts. Zelensky. If you're not familiar with the name, Ukrainian president. Okay, he's an elected official. He's a president. Okay, so he should receive the same amount of respect from people that the fucking tangerine tyrant wants to have for himself. So these two fucking thundersticks, fuck off. First off, President Zelensky, on behalf of the American people, we're not all like that. So I humbly apologize for their behavior. Okay. They are not representatives of mine. They're not representatives of what America is or actually needs to be. So again, I humbly apologize to you. For the dumb fucking cunts, fuck off, get out of the goddamn office, get the fuck out of the country. Nobody fucking wants you here, you fucktards.
Yeah, what happened in that meeting was so fucking embarrassing. First of all, for the reporters, and really, this complaint has been getting thrown around for, I think, the entire war. I do not give two fiddly fucks if the man wears a suit or not. The clothes do not make the man. Okay. And I love that Zelensky is kind of over it because when one of the reporters said something about him wearing a suit, he's like, I'll wear a costume when this is over. Like,
yeah,
that was the perfect fucking response. And fucking Bowman, he's so badly wanted to impress daddy, and he's getting so fucking combative with him for no fucking reason. And like, oh, you haven't said thank you one time during this meeting. First off, he did say that they were thankful. Second of all, why is that your hang up? So the fuck what? That was just so fucking stupid to me.
yeah. I mean, the guy's got more fucking eyeliner than fucking Victoria's Secret fucking fashion show. I mean, if he woke up that fucking morning and actually stuck himself in the fucking eye, I can understand having, a little bit of a fucking attitude, but you're getting an attitude with the wrong person for the wrong fucking reasons. Okay. Go back. You know what? Here's an idea. Actually befriend some gay people. Actually befriend some drag kings and queens and have them show you how to put on your fucking eyeliner, you dumb cunt.
They could actually both benefit from that because so you got the one dude who puts on eyeliner like the fucking Undertaker, and then you have the other guy who can't blend his makeup for shit. And like lately, I have taken to calling Donnie Boy there because you can see how he looks. I mean, yes, I understand he's old, and a lot of them tend to look like this, but I've been calling him a bussy neck bitch.
Well, I mean, the fucking Mango Mussolini. I mean, Jesus Christ. Can his hair get any fucking worse?
I cannot I cannot tell where his skin stops and his hair begins. It like, dude, humans don't look like this. Every fucking day he looks more and more like a Rick and Morty cartoon. I'm so confused with this.
Honestly, if we were gonna vote on fucking looks, I would have voted for the fucking Crypt Keeper. Before I would even consider voting for that fascist fuck.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. And like, I know before that one he had another one where um was it, I think it was with Zelensky. No, it was with dude from France. Fuck, what's his name? Merkel is Germany. What's the dude's name from France? I can't remember his name.
Is it Marcon? Not Mark
Mark
Holm,
Holm.
is it?
Or
Mark
yeah,
Holm?
yeah. Yeah, it is that guy. Or if that's not his name, it's close enough. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Um, he was fact checking Trump on the spot about what kind of aid Europe has been providing to Ukraine, and Trump was getting so pissed off about that because he kept trying to say that they're sending him aid on the loan. He's like, no, we're not, and he kept trying to sell that lie, and he's like, no, we're not. It's not a loan, you fucking moron. So I enjoyed that very much. I like seeing him get fact checked in real time. Um, also, um, I just thought of something earlier today, and I'm surprised that I have not seen more jokes about this. Is that Donny Boy has replaced Melania with Elania. And apparently we're cool with that.
Well, I mean, he needs some
Which
deodorant
you
to put on because he's getting a little musky.
and also Elon is wearing those sunglasses to cover up that he is high as shit when he's doing these events.
Oh,
He
probably.
is.
Oh, more than likely. I mean, thing is though, if most people when they're high come up with better fucking jokes. When you're talking to a group of people, it's like, oh yeah, hey, it's yeah.
That's
That's
if you
it.
have a good sense of humor. Not
Have you seen the
the
Cybertruck?
reason why oh god. The swastikars.
The Swastikar. Yeah.
um Speaking of which, I don't know if we talked about this last time or not. Then fucking Steve Bannon tried to do the goddamn salute too,
No,
which
we didn't talk
in
about this.
And in Steve Bannon's case, he's an open white supremacist, so that was on brand for him. But so I think what he's really trying to do is just normalize it. What I found funny about it is that a proper salute, you're supposed to hit your shoulder first, or like upper chest, shoulder, something like that. He didn't do that. You're supposed to hit your shoulder and then cross your chest. Bannon didn't do that. He just put a lazy ass arm up. And I'm pretty sure it's because his fat ass doesn't have the mobility to do it properly.
Would probably fucking strike his chest and give himself a fucking heart attack. Though it's like, oh,
Honestly, I could see that too.
maybe we
I
should
could
convince
see
him.
that too.
Probably convince him to do it. It'd save us a lot of trouble. All right, I'm done with fucking politics because this shit show that is the fucking Oval Office is just So, all right, we're gonna go into catastrophe. Right into it. All right, our first one.
Yeah.
I did not call you. All right. What is the funniest insult you've ever heard?
Funniest insult I've ever heard. Honestly, probably one of the better ones that I've heard in the last several years have probably been directed towards Trump, if I'm being completely honest. Um, Honestly, the one that I really, really like is the alliteration. Um, Jonathan Phoenix, he mentioned it on the Facebook episode. I think the one that you were on last week, Pissed Off Bartender. I love the alliterative names that he gives him. Pumpkin Spice Palpatine, Payless Putin, Mango Mussolini. I love those fucking jokes. They're so fucking good. Uh, the best insult I've ever heard. That's a hard one, but I think I'm gonna go with that for right now, only because it's like the freshest in my mind. It's just those alliterative jokes.
Yeah.
They're not the best, but it's just the best I can think
Yeah.
of.
My favorite, it's not the best, but my favorite is I'd call you a cunt, but you lack the depth and the warmth.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is a
So
good one.
that is my favorite. However, the best insult I ever heard was it Billy Madison, where he's like, where he goes on with like the game show or whatnot, and he rambles. He goes like, "What you have said here in no way," that whole fucking phrase, that whole fucking
Yes,
phrase. I'm
yes.
like, that is the absolute greatest. It's like no one here has benefited from your ramblings. You should be ashamed of yourself. I can't remember the whole fucking line off the top of my head, but everybody who has seen the movie knows it. So there you go. That is the
Yeah.
best insult I've ever fucking heard.
Yeah, and he ends his tirade, I award you no points and may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah.
But just to piggyback, actually another good one because of what your first one. I do like I've heard somebody like I'd call you a dick, but you're not real enough, so I have to just call you a dildo.
All right. Second catastrophe. What band or music what band or musician would you love to hang out with?
Hmm.
Snoop Dogg.
I mean, Snoop is the obvious choice, but I'm gonna be honest, there is no universe where I can keep up with Snoop. Like, I already know 15 minutes in to a smoke session with Snoop, I'm fucking out. But I'll have a damn good time while I'm doing it. Actually, you know what? Because he makes music, he counts. I'm gonna say Jack Black. And I'm gonna say that because whenever people talk about him as a comedian, and I'm going to be completely honest, when I watch his movies, I don't find him as funny or as entertaining. When you see him in an interview and you see his actual personality, he is fucking hilarious. He is what I would call conversationally funny. He might not be funny on screen with a script, but when he's just being himself, he's hysterical. So I would love to hang out with Jack Black.
Oh, I'd love to hang out with Jack Black too. But my God, there's so many bands or musicians I'd love to hang out with. Some of them I've actually had the opportunity to hang out with. So, and that's not just bands and musicians. We're talking WWE wrestlers, actors, authors, things of that nature. But I would love to hang out with the members of Breaking Benjamin just because they're my favorite band. And I've gotten so close to actually meeting them several times, and it's just never happened. And thing is, Sean Foyce, the drummer of Breaking Benjamin, actually is from the Middletown area. His mom still lives there. Actually, I think she has a restaurant or a bakery or something like that. But yeah, from that area. But definitely Breaking Benjamin, just because I absolutely love them. Then the others would have to be Rammstein, so I can brush up on my German. But I don't know, if we're looking for just to hang out with and chill and whatnot, because I'm pretty sure I'd fucking fanboy. I love to hang out with Weird Al. I mean,
I'm not mad at that.
I mean, the first thing I want to do is I want to ask his offspring, his daughter. It's like, what's your dad really like behind closed doors? It's like growing up. Was he like that comedic performer that we get on the albums or in the videos or we see in concert or TV or whatnot? Or was he like that dad that sat down and it's like, all right, let's watch Wheel of Fortune, or some shit like that, It's like, but yeah, I mean,
Actually, you know what?
I think hanging out with Weird Al would be the greatest.
I love that you mentioned Weird Al because you actually just reminded me. I'm just going to share this real quick. If y'all are on YouTube right now, feel free to pause to read. In short, Weird Al might be our modern day Mozart. And no, I will not be debating this. I will not be taking questions on this because jokes aside, if you think about the shit that he's parodied, the amount of genres and everything, it takes a ridiculous amount of talent to do so many different styles well.
Yeah.
Like he's honestly, when you stop focusing on the comedy aspect of what he does take it's fucking amazing. Like it's so much talent involved.
So on from his second album, there's a song called "Dare to Be Stupid." I think it was actually in the Transformers movie, but it copies the style of Devo. It's an original song, but it copies that that Devo style-esque type music, and if I remember correctly, in an interview, one of the guys of Devo enjoyed the song, but was a little upset because Al was able to reproduce that sound in a much better quality and production than what Devo was able to do at that time. So, but it's one of those things when you have, when you can do an original song in the style of another, band or musician. I mean,
Yeah.
that just speaks to your brilliance. Is not just the parody aspect of things, but to actually copy that type of genre and come up with something original and sound just as good or even better than what that particular band of that style was able to put forward.
Yeah, and you look at a guy like Weird Al, if we're going on looks alone, like you're just judging a book by its cover, you would not think that he has the capability to basically rap in the same style as Eminem or fucking like Chameleonaire when he parodied Riding Dirty, White and Nerdy, which first off is
It's
that was so
fucking great.
fucking awesome. That was so fucking awesome that he was able to adapt it like that. But again, if you remove the comedic aspect of what he's doing, being able to keep up and mimic a song like that, first off, you wouldn't look at him and think that he can do it. But second of all, holy shit, not only does he do it, he does it well.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean,
bro, you could have done this as a profession.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, go to the video for All About the Pentiums, where he's wearing like that silver suit and he's got the hair back in the ponytail and the sunglasses, but he's got his facial hair shaved and that goatee. Dude looks motherfucking hard. It's like I would not fuck with him. The dude's gonna come out and he's like, some plap, 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 or some shit like that. And it's like, no, man, it's a soldering gun.
Let me see if I can find that. Oh,
I mean,
that was actually one of. Oh yeah, no. I do remember that. I remember that he was parodying a Puffy song, which fuck that dude. But yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen. Will you fucking load? Jesus. I'll share it, but like it's all smaller images. So if you're watching on YouTube, maybe you can just kind of zoom in. But honestly, like he looks pretty badass. Like honestly, like looking at
like
the wardrobe, like
with the white suit,
my
right?
guy,
Yeah.
my guy kind of got drip here though, for real.
How fucking hard that is, man.
Like honestly, I would rock this suit. This looks bad. This looks good. And actually, you know what? And I'm sure you know the answer to this question. You know the one artist who never gave consent for Weird Al, he never got to parody, was Prince.
Yeah.
He tried to with Prince.
He's tried.
Prince said no.
I think he's tried several times. But I'm speaking of Prince, I actually just saw an interview with Kevin Smith the other day.
Oh yeah,
it's an interview from like way back when. But for one of the movies, he was trying to get "Most Beautiful Girl in the World" in as one of the songs. And I can't remember what movie it was from, but so he was trying to get a hold of Prince and, kept playing phone tag with Prince's assistant, stuff like that. But then Prince finally called him at his house and, they started talking, and Prince apparently was a huge Dogma fan. And that's all he was pretty much talking about with Kevin Smith. And, started because Prince actually, he was a reverend at that too. He was a preacher, and he started, witnessing to Kevin and stuff like that. And he's like, you curse a lot in your films and stuff like that. He's like, yeah. And he's like, well, I want to do this thing with you, but he's talking about, doing this Prince biopic and stuff like that. And it's a pretty good interview. It's floating out around TikTok and on YouTube. So if you want to get a good story, because the way Kevin tells it's fucking hilarious, because he's got the mannerisms going on, like his actual reactions and stuff like that. But it's a great interview. And, eventually the phone call ends and stuff like that. And he's talking with Jay and stuff like that. And, and it gets to a point. He's like, did you ask about the song? He's like, oh, fuck, no, I forgot. he's like, do I call him back and other shit. So really good interview and Kevin Smith's interaction with the late great Prince. So all right, catastrophe number 3.
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I might have to actually try to put my son on to a couple of Prince songs because I know he was like super talented on the guitar. So it's funny. I think this was last week. So I'm playing the song for my son. I mentioned Castlevania to you. Castlevania has really, really good soundtracks. One of the main songs they adapted from the video games. It's a song called "Bloody Tears." It's very well used in the show. But there's this guy, Samuel Kim, and he does epic versions of songs that you'll hear in music and in TV and movies. And so I'm playing this in the car, which if y'all want to look it up, I will put a link here in the description. It's all instrumental. It's fucking awesome. It has no right going as hard as it does. But my son picked up on, he heard the violins in the background. Now, maybe because he does play in band, he plays trombone. He's talking about doing marching band next year in high school. So maybe he's got more of an ear for it. He picked up on the strings, and I'm like, I never caught that before. So I started playing a few songs for him. I pulled up Michael Jackson's Beat It simply because I wanted him to hear the guitar solo. The guitar solo is fucking amazing. Then I pulled up, me and you have talked before about whether you like Creed or not, the guitarist Mark Tremonti is
Yes.
fucking awesome. And I pulled up one of their songs. It's called "Stand Here With Me." It's not one of Creed's better songs. However, it does contain one of Mark Tremonti's best fucking solos. Um, and then I played Carlos Santana. I played a couple of them. Of course, anybody from my generation and older, we all remember Maria Maria. If you're too young, that's what DJ Khaled sampled for Wild Thoughts with Rihanna. That's that guitar. That was Santana. I played that, and I'm like, this is not even Santana going hard. This was a normal fucking Tuesday for this man. Um, so I got my son into a little bit of it, so he might actually enjoy if I can find a couple of Prince songs to put him on to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Prince will do it for him. Also have him listen to Eric Clapton's "No Alibis."
Actually, one of the songs that I pointed out to him and I played a little bit of was Carlos Santana has a track with Eric Clapton where
Oh shit.
it's all music. It's all instrumental. It's called The Calling, if you want to look it up. I think it's like 8 minutes long. Fucking beautiful duet. Honestly, Santana's best tracks is like there's one, I don't remember which one it is. It's a literal 12-minute instrumental.
Hmm.
Fucking amazing.
There's another one since you mentioned Eddie Van Halen doing and the Beat It solo. There's one off of the Fuck album, also better known as For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. It's a short instrumental guitar. I believe it's called 316.
Okay.
So, all right.
I'll have to look that up.
What is your favorite quote?
Um, Actually, this is an easy one because I've referenced this many, many times. So two I'll give as an honorable mention. Both of these actually come out of a song. Both of them actually happen to be hip hop. The first one is Fabulous. The other one is Kanye. I know how you feel about Kanye, but so the one Fabulous did, he said, they say money doesn't buy happiness, but it's a damn good down payment. The one from Kanye, he said, having money's not everything, not having it is. Just absolutely fucking true. But the other one, the one I always refer to, the one that always sticks out to me and I come back to, um, and especially with how quick paced our world is today, um, never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life.
Wow, that's deep. I have two.
I love that one. I reference that one whenever someone tells me that I should work more. I knew one guy who said that everybody should work 60 hours a week, 40 to cover your bills, the other 20 to get ahead. And I'm like, no, because my life is not fucking work. I
Yeah.
refuse.
Actually, I have three. Because you just reminded me of one with the work thing. Um, and I'm not exactly sure how this one goes, but it's like 20 years from now, the only people who will remember that you have put 60 to 70 hours in at the office 5 days a week are your children. And then the other two are actually by a very obscure and not well-known author. The first one is the mind is the most powerful tool a soul can possess. And
I like
the third is look into the night sky and choose for me a star. There you shall find me.
That one sounds like a little bit like that one sounds more religious. Not exactly religious, but at least along those lines.
Oh, I can guarantee this has nothing to do with religion. Guaranteed. I know the author.
Where did that one come from?
David.
Okay.
Yeah, the author. Yeah, I happen to know him very well. So, all right, and got to dig around the prostate. All right, there we go. And our last catastrophe. What? What is your favorite car? No. What is the airspeed velocity of a landlady as well? No. What is your spirit animal?
Honestly, I would say wolf. And I 100 it's funny because I know you talked about that before. So we actually might have the same answer with this. I want to get a couple of wolf cub tattoos, basically symbolizing my kids. Specifically, I want them on my shoulder blades. Problem is that I need to lose enough weight that somebody will ever see the tattoos. I mentioned that one time I was talking to Jess, JB. We were just, I don't remember, it was probably just Facebook Messenger or something like that. And I mentioned wanting those tattoos, and she was mentioning how wolves are known as, tribal animals. So, like, that makes sense. Now, I don't know if there was a correlation with me being drawn to that or not. But yeah, like, obviously, like, my family is pretty much everything to me. So, yeah. Um, Me saying a wolf, I feel like that tracks.
Yep. My spirit animal is Dua Lipa.
You know what? I'm not mad at that.
No. In all seriousness, if my spirit animal is a wolf as well, just because I more recognize with the way of the wolf, and being a pack animal, but when it's lone, it has its moments, its benefits, it has certain characteristics about it. So yes, a wolf would also be my spirit animal. Dua Lipa, a strong second. So
although while we're talking about that, I just want to mention, if you are in 2025 still going off of the alpha wolf thing, you're a fucking chud, and you probably go through more lotion in a month than I do in a year.
Well, the whole alpha wolf thing, even the scientist who created the hypothesis on it acknowledges that is incorrect due to the fact that the study was conducted on wolves that were kept in captivity. So, if you are an active wolf, if you are an alpha wolf, then guess what? You are a captive to the constraints and confinements that keep you bound. So, fuck off, you little man. Anyway, that was our catastrophe. If you got any content, what?
No. I was just going to say, and actually, this might even tie into the earlier question about favorite insult. I am waiting to come across somebody who claims to be an alpha, just so I can ask him, "Is that a furry thing?"
Where do you put your tail? All right, well, that's been Catastrophe. If you got any suggestions, you can email us at menbehindcurtain.com or leave comments here below on your YouTube section or in Spotify or anywhere else you stream the podcast. All right, so a lot of stuff happening in March. First up, we have the Disney / Marvel continuation bringing back Charlie Cox as Deadpool or Daredevil.
I am so hyped for this. I have mostly dragged my feet a lot with some of the other Marvel shows. I didn't watch Agatha all along until like a month or so later. Even though going into Agatha, my initial thought was like, who asked for this? But at the end of Agatha, I'm like, holy shit, this is one of their better shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, but Daredevil, um, I'm absolutely excited for this. I do not think I'm going to sit on it. The first episode comes out on the 4th, which will be Tuesday. I may or may not watch on Tuesday because I don't know how busy I'll be, but I do plan to have watched the first episode by the time we record next week. I am fucking hyped for this.
I will probably have
And
watched
we're
it by
getting
about 5 or
D'Onofrio
6
back.
times. Yes, I will probably have watched it about 5 or 6 times before we record. So, but that's me. But yeah, so we've got Daredevil coming up. I'm looking forward to that. Even when it was a Netflix show, it was absolutely phenomenal. Actually went back and started rewatching the first season, about halfway through it right now. I was trying to get caught up before the Disney Marvel continuation of it, and that didn't happen. But oh well, so yeah.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I'm really happy about D'Onofrio's Kingpin in this is that I've made this argument for years. When you go back and you watch the Netflix shows, Punisher is going to be the exception to this rule because John Bernthal is fucking amazing. But
That's true.
in almost every single good show and good season that Netflix has had with Marvel, what holds it up, what makes it a cut above normal or average, is the villain. Because, and I'm going to prove this because obviously we've talked about how good D'Onofrio is. Fucking amazing. You look at Jessica Jones. Kilgrave was fucking captivating. He was great. But then season 2, Jessica Ritter's performance did not change. I honestly don't even really think the writing was like bad necessarily or different in season 2 and 3. Her mom was not a good villain, and then Trish was a horrible villain. Um, Luke Cage, Shades was good, even though he was a side villain. He was a great fucking character, and Mahershala Ali as Cottonmouth was so fucking good as the villain. Um, I just, God, I'm so mad that they killed him off like what halfway through season 1. He was so good. And then we come to Iron Fist. I don't know if I've talked about it on this show or not before, but where a lot of people criticize Iron Fist, I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. Is Danny Rand's fighting a little bit subpar? Yes, it is. However, he just set foot in the real world and had a real fight where his life is in jeopardy. Prior to that, it was always training. Totally different universe. Um, and second of all, season 1 of Iron Fist, he was fighting the hand. He was fighting fucking ninjas. He didn't have a tangible villain. Not really. There was um the fuck was her Madame Gao or some shit like that, but he never fought Madame Gao. There was I think Sigourney Weaver. I know Sigourney Weaver was in the show The Defenders. I think she was in Iron Fist. I'm not sure about that,
Don't
but
recall.
he didn't have a real villain to fight in season 1. Season 2 with Davos, season 2 was worlds better than season 1 because he had a villain to focus on.
Yeah, no, I can agree with all that. I never get really too much into Iron Fist. Was never really big into the comics, so I kind of sidestepped it. I watched a few episodes here and there, but it just I don't know. It never spoke to me. I mean, majority of the stuff that I do watch is because I follow it from the comic book, So, but yeah,
That's fair.
but it would be interesting, and eventually I'll get back to watch it. It's just one of those things that it's not high on my radar at the moment. So,
I also know people talk now. I will say this much is that in the show, Danny Rand was being a little bit of an idiot because he shows up after like 10 some odd years away. He now assumes control of his company, and he's not using common sense in the way that he's trying to operate. Nobody knows what the fucking immortal Iron Fist is. You can tell me that all day. It doesn't mean shit to me. Um, and he made a lot of dumb decisions, I think, but you could also chalk that up to the fact that he was away from the real world for about 10 years. So I genuinely think that people were harsh on Iron Fist. It wasn't one of their better shows, but it wasn't as bad as everybody says that it was, in my opinion. But yes, with Daredevil, of course, Vincent D'Onofrio is coming back as Kingpin. If anybody's seen the trailers, TV spots, or whatever, you see them at a diner talking to each other. And honestly, those are some of the best parts. I love those movies and those TV shows where the hero and villain get to just have a dialogue. They're not fighting, nothing's going on. They're just talking. And it's more of a mental war in that scene. And I love those scenes.
Yeah. No, for me, so much of the story can be told through dialogue, and having the exchange as such between protagonist and antagonist, it does so much to get the story, moving forward, and it gives you a little bit more, you know, more back into it, emotionally and everything else. So, yeah, I am all for that.
Yeah. And I would also argue that when you look back and you look at some of the better scenes and the better dynamics and everything in TV and movies, I'm not going to say anybody can do a fight scene. That's not entirely true, but it is much easier to hire a fight choreographer and have a good action scene. That is, I think, the easy part. The hard part is, can you make a story that pulls me in? Can you make a story that captivates me? And as an example, people love to talk about how good the fight scenes to the first Gladiator were with Russell Crowe, and they are. The fight scenes are fantastic, but the story is just as good, if not better.
Yeah,
That's what makes Gladiator such a good movie. Um, of course, and honestly, this is part of what made The Dark Knight such a good movie. I've heard a lot of people argue that Dark Knight's not actually a good movie. I've heard a lot of people say it's not a good Batman movie. And to be fair, all of the best scenes are the Joker's scenes. That is that is unquestionably true. But it's not all him fighting the Joker. That interrogation scene before it devolves into Joker getting the shit beat out of him. Before that, the dialogue was so fucking good because that's probably the first time in the movie that you actually see where the Joker's mind is. When he's talking to the mobsters, he told them he wanted money. He didn't actually fucking want the money, but they they understand money, so he has to speak their language. In Batman's case, no, he dropped the mask, literally and figuratively. Like, no, that he's just being who he is, and that's what made the scene so fucking good.
yeah,
Um, and my favorite scene, one of my favorite villains, will take the Matrix. I love the scene where Smith is interrogating Morpheus, where he says like humanity is a virus, because that's where you actually understand Smith as a character. Fight scenes in the Matrix are fucking amazing, especially for like 99, what it was. The technology we had at the time, like the fight scenes are groundbreaking, they're amazing. But that scene with Smith, where you learn what makes him tick, is an amazing scene.
yeah, absolutely. It's like my favorite fight scenes are the ones with, like, Harrison Ford playing a normal guy that can't throw a punch. It's realistic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually one thing I do like about with some of the Indiana Jones movies is that he acts like a guy who's making this shit up as he goes because he is.
Yeah. So
Actually, for those of y'all who don't know the story, this is one of my favorite stories about it. I believe it's the first movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Um, we all know the scene where, dude's got the sword, he's brandishing it, and he just pulls a gun out and shoots him. That was not the script. What happened is that Harrison Ford was tired from the fight scenes he had just shot.
oh, he was
So he
sick.
just, oh, he was sick.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he didn't have it in him to shoot another fight scene. And so that was unscripted, but it fit for the character. So they let it play out. They kept it. I love that fucking story.
Oh, that's fucking great. So, all right, you said you had some Star Trek news.
Well, not news, not news. Just so I watched for the first time in probably 20 plus years, I just watched Generations the other day.
Okay.
And so first of all, I now understand why I mispronounced Malcolm McDowell's name in that is with Patrick Stewart's accent and pronunciation, it does sound a little bit like Sauron. So that's kind of where I was thinking that, as far as like the Sauron from Lord of the Rings. The movie holds up really well. The only scene that I think was a little cringe is when he is in the Nexus and you see his children and they're dressing and acting like turn of the 19th century fucking dolls. It's weird. But this is also the Nexus. This is his personal fantasy. Maybe that's the kind of life he wanted. Fine, let it ride. But I think that Picard and Kirk, I think they jumped timelines in that. I think when they left the Nexus, I don't think they came back to the original timeline.
Okay.
Be- because if he left the Nexus and he came back to before the Nexus took them, where's the other Picard? And for that matter, how would like if they left, what happened to Sauron? Like if they left, like wouldn't they have had to take him with them? I think they're in a totally different timeline again.
Interesting theory.
Because the original, quote unquote, the original Picard, when he is climbing through the force field, that little gap in the rocks, and then Sauron shoots, and that's the last time that you see the original Picard. So it is entirely possible that that Picard died right there, and then the the Nexus Picard and Kirk, they just kind of stepped in. Sauron wouldn't know the fucking difference. Like he saw there was an explosion, a bunch of rubble and rocks. He would know if the other Picard is down there or not. So, because they showed up a little bit before the Nexus ever arrived, there should have actually been two Picards had he just stepped back in time. So, yeah, I think I think I just found another fucking timeline jump.
It's an interesting theory, and I mean, definitely, thoughts on it hold weight. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, we did get the whole franchise rebooted in front of us or right underneath our noses with First Contact. So,
Yep, we did. And of course, as we've talked about before, then there was the blatant reboot that Abrams did, which I honestly loved the writing in that because it was a way to start over, have a brand new set of story and characters. Well, not even new characters, just a retelling of the characters. However, it was a way to keep the original movies we'd already watched. It was all still canon. So I loved the writing decision on how they did that reboot. Um, I'm still perplexed at was it Discovery that's no longer canon? That's fucking stupid.
yeah, it's really fucking stupid. So,
But yeah,
so
I wanted to bring that up because like I was watching that and I it never occurred to me when I was a kid. I will say though, even though Generations has a near 2 hour runtime, it still feels a little bit rushed. I think it's because there's so much going on at once. Because you have the first 20 minutes of the movie is Kirk and his story, and then you move into the next gen crew. And they've got this whole thing, with the Klingons and destroying the ship and all that. Like, it's a very busy movie. So even though it has a pretty good runtime, it still feels a little bit rushed, I thought.
yeah,
I think if they remade that movie today, they'd probably add an extra 20 minutes onto the runtime just to let things breathe.
more than likely. I'm going to move from to a galaxy that's even farther away. Not exactly new and hot news, but did you see we got a recast for Balin's Skull due to the death of Ray Stevenson?
Yes, that was the Hound, isn't it?
Yes, Rory McKay.
I'm very much looking forward to that because um, we all saw him in Game of Thrones. Like, honestly, this is his role he's very well suited for because the Hound, at first, he's just this stoic killing machine. He doesn't care about anything. He'll kill anyone, yada, yada, yada. As the series progresses, you find out the Hound is he's still very, very human. Um, and the same thing kind of applies with Balin, is it Skull?
Skull.
Skoll?
Yeah.
Skull, okay. Um, the same thing kind of applies there. And what I love about his character is how Anakin seems to be the straw that broke the camel's back. And honestly, he wasn't wrong because the Jedi Order let Anakin get away with a lot of shit he should not have gotten away with. Um, he broke norms a lot. So even before the fall of the Order, Skull was kind of fed up with this shit, and he wasn't wrong. Um, and I don't know if they ever made it official. But allegedly, that's why his lightsaber is more of a blood orange, because the theory is that a blood orange is a righteous anger. He bled his crystal, obviously, which is where the reddish tint comes from. He didn't go full dark side, though. Like, his reasons for being angry are valid. So that's the righteous anger where that comes from. I don't know if they ever canonized it and made it official, but that was the fan theory that I heard. And I'm honestly, until Disney says otherwise, I'm rolling with it.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
well, speaking of Disney and Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy is going to be stepping down. And
I
there was much applause.
oh god, I'm so fucking happy for that because she has not been good for this franchise. Yes, it was great to see new stories, new characters, but she doesn't understand Star Wars. We've talked about this before. She said that, oh, being given a lightsaber is like a sacred thing. It's a rite of passage. No, it's not. Building your lightsaber is a rite of passage. That's why it was so important. That's why Vader recognized Luke for building his lightsaber at the when he captured him
Yeah.
in Return of the Jedi. He said, your journey to being a Jedi, something along those lines, your journey is complete because crafting your lightsaber was basically your capstone. That was becoming a Jedi. Now, Rey is a different generation of Jedi. So she didn't have schooling. Yes, she did build her own lightsaber at the end. Where I'm not talking about that right now. But yes, she was gifted a lightsaber, but she was gifted a lightsaber in a time that lightsabers weren't being built. There was nobody to teach her how to use it, how to use the Force, what a Jedi even fucking is. So being given a lightsaber made the most logical sense, just like Luke, honestly. Um,
Until
but
you
yes,
like look into it.
actually, it's funny you mention that because when I was pulling up our YouTube page a little bit ago, where's my mouse? God, there we go. When I was pulling up our YouTube a little bit ago, so I can start uploading this later on, there was a Star Wars one, but it's ruined by AI. And you know what? Since I'm talking about it, um, yeah, we're just gonna. What the fuck? So yeah, I just thought that that was hilarious. And yes, for those of y'all who don't remember, like in the not very first scene, but in the very first movie, when Obi-Wan first gives him the lightsaber, he immediately looks into it. Thank God he didn't hit the button.
Well, he's just a moisture farmer from Tatooine. It explains a lot.
That was one thing I loved that they said in the Family Guy parody. Um, I don't remember exactly what it was, but Chris, aka Luke, he was like, "There's three sons and no girls. What do you want me to do?"
Yeah, so I mean, given the fact of how technology has come since the late 70s and whatnot, I can see how some things don't sit well today, particularly looking into a lightsaber.
Honestly, and even to be fair to Luke, he had never seen a lightsaber. So where like I think I would have at least asked a question before I had done that. Because you see a button on this thing, you don't know what it is. So before I go looking into something, I mean, I'm not going to look down the barrel of a gun, even if I know that it's not loaded. Because you know what? Maybe it is. Um, but I'm going to ask a question or two before I just fucking put my eye right up to it. So, but the Skywalkers historically are fucking morons. At least the men are.
Yeah, yeah. Leia seemed to be pretty intelligent. So, except
Well,
she kissed her brother.
well, but let's be honest. Let's be fair here. Of all the Skywalker men that we have seen, Leia was the only one with access to a good education. So there is that.
All right, everybody. That's our time for today. Thank you for joining us here on Men Behind the Curtain, the podcast about everything and nothing all at once. We will see you in 1 week.
Y'all have a good one. As always, may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Feel free to check us out on all of our platforms, specifically Facebook, because we want to try to get those likes up. Also, the last episode of Valmont did not come out this weekend because there were technical issues, but it should be out by the time this episode is live. But other than that, thank y'all for listening and or watching, and y'all have a good one.
Take care.